Back in the day, there was a lot of racial tension in sports, from football, basketball, baseball, boxing, and even wrestling. The blacks played with the blacks, and the whites played with the whites. America was just a different time back then. Let me tell you a story of one of the wrestlers to break racial barriers in wrestling, all while becoming the first black world heavyweight champion. I'm KB the Mark from WBPTV, and this is Beyond Kayfabe. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born Edward Wright on January 13th, 1932 in Omaha, Nebraska, the son of Ed Bearcat Wright, who was a boxer. Young Ed decided to follow in his father's footsteps by being a boxer himself, boxing under the name Bearcat Wright Jr., also being a second-generation boxer at that. Bearcat Wright would finish off his boxing career with the 8-0 record, and he would retire in 1959. That same year, he would make his professional wrestling debut. Now, during this time, a lot of athletes from various sports started migrating to pro wrestling, mainly because it was way easier on the body. Who am I kidding? It's the money. Lots of wrestlers who came from different sports all had one thing in common. They were horrible. Yes, some were good brawlers, athletic, and charismatic. But the main thing in wrestling that you gotta know how to wrestle. Bearcat would come in as a heel. Well, most blacks were heels by nature due to wrestling being segregated. But Bearcat, he was one of the most strongest heels, standing 6'6", weighing 275 pounds. This power made him the perfect heel for its time. Bearcat will often put on a show by ripping a phone book apart to show his strength. Bearcat would use the claw as his finisher. This move was famously used by the Von Erichs. As a heel, Bearcat wrestling style was different, as he had a boxing background. He would use that to his advantage. While being a face, he would let go of the boxing style and utilize kicks and splashes. Bearcat wrestled during the territory days, especially when it was at its peak. During the 60s was his best run in wrestling. In the early 60s, he would win the World Negro Heavyweight Championship in Michigan. During a show in Gary, Indiana, Bearcat announced that he would no longer wrestle other black wrestlers. For this, he was banned by the State Athletic Commission. Other territories and cities controlled by outside promoters saw the potential of black heel wrestlers. Mainly, they saw that they were a draw, meaning they put ass in seats. With this being said, these same promoters began booking black heels versus white baby faces, desegregating wrestling effectively. With this power move, this allowed wrestlers like Thunderbolt Patterson, Bobo Brazil, and Abdullah the Butcher to shine. But with a move like this still comes with a catch. Even though wrestling is now desegregated, stereotypes play a huge role in any non-white wrestlers, like sticking face paint and the green mist move to Asians, aligning stabbing with Arabic wrestlers, portraying Polynesian wrestlers as savages, and blacks as great athletes, and oh, how can I forget, gang members. Fun fact, 5 days before Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, Bearcat Wright won the WWA World Heavyweight Championship from Freddie Blassie in Los Angeles. With this win, this would officially make Bearcat Wright the very first black world heavyweight champion. He also made history again by becoming the very first wrestler that refused to drop a title to another wrestler. This other wrestler was Edward Carpenter. WWA office was pissed, so they were going to teach Bearcat a lesson. So they booked a shooter, which is known as a wrestler who would legit go out in the ring to fight, and the person they sent on this mission was none other than the problem solver, Judo Gene LaBelle. The bookers didn't want Bearcat to find out, so they threw a mask on LaBelle and had him come to the ring first. When Bearcat made his way to the ring, he sensed something was off, so he refused to enter the ring and was stripped of the title and blackballed from the company and labeled as being hard to work with. Bearcat Wright was such a draw, it didn't matter that the WWA didn't want him. He was going to find work regardless. Why? Because he was a draw. In fact, he wrestled all the way until the 70s. August 28, 1982, Bearcat Wright would pass away from sickle cell complications. On March 31st, 2017, Bearcat Wright was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Bearcat Wright should be remembered as a legend. Not only did he help break barriers in wrestling, but the fact that he became the first black world heavyweight champion, he, along with Bobo Brazil, to name a few, made it possible for us to see Ron Simmons, Booker T, The Rock, Mark Henry, Kofi Kingston, and Big E as world champions.
What's up, everyone? I'm Camilio Salamander.
And I'm KB the Mark.
And together, we some fucking marks. Here you can catch everything in the world of wrestling.
That's right. Whether it's WWE, AEW, New Japan, you name it, we got it.
You can catch all new episodes every Sunday.
You can also catch us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Now, if you like us, like really like us, come and check us out on YouTube at WBPTV Wrestling. Once again, you can catch all new episodes every Sunday.
Now, what a way to end your week than to listen to the boys over here.
That's right. WBPTV presents the D&B Podcast. You don't want to miss it. And like always, we'll see you on the next one.
I started with nothing and came out a king. I've been the one that's been balling for rings. It's been me and my team and we chasing the green. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free. My team be the shit, we ain't ballin' for free.